is The Furnace with John Burton.
All right, hey, let's talk about revival in the church. Let's talk about the easiest way, the most powerful way, really the only way, I think, to see revival come to a church. And, you know, I talk to a lot of people, and a lot of people want a move of God. They're hungry for a move of God. I think we all are. And so how do we see this happen? I believe that we need to see radical, massive, insane reformation come to the church, and and the way that we are worshiping and coming together on Sunday mornings and different days of the week. Complete shift, complete change. And so this reformation is not going to be a simple adjustment or an enhancement. It's going to be a radical shift. And so we need to see the church transition into a prayer-driven church, a prayer-driven ministry. And I preach this everywhere I go, talk about this, write about this, and there are a lot of people that they're ready for this. I mean, really ready for this. I'll talk about this. They'll be like, "Where can I go? Where's the closest church that I can find that's doing that?" And there's not many. There's a few. And I was just in West Virginia, Jesse, West Virginia, and man, that church was doing it. It was powerful. So the reformation that we need to see really starts on Sunday mornings, where the Sunday morning service turns into a prayer meeting. One of my most popular articles that I've ever written for Charisma Magazine is titled Ancient and Emerging, 5 Major Changes That Are Coming to the Church. That's the title of it. And one of the changes coming to the church is that Sunday morning services will they'll look more like prayer meetings. And, I got to thinking, how can I really encourage pastors to move in that direction? Well, first of all, you've got to be ready to lose a lot of people. The pretenders are going to leave. Those who are not interested in the deep things of God, they're going to leave. There's going to be gossip. There's going to be problems, very possibly. All of that. So you got to get over that. So if you're in the ministry for the whole church growth, thing, or you're in it, for the 401k, or for your parsonage, or to pay the bills, or whatever, then you are really going to struggle with this. So you got to get over that, because the moment you transition to a prayer-driven church is the moment that the pretenders are going to be gone, but it's also going to be the moment that you're going to be able to move ahead in great power and great unity, because now you're going to be unified, not around church growth, but you're going to be unified around a move of God and prayer. Now, you need to understand that, yes, teaching's important, and worship's important, and fellowship's important, but the church is not a house of fellowship, and it's not a house of teaching. It's not a house of worship. It is a house of prayer. And it's a house of prayer for all nations, which means that we are called to gather and to intercede. We're to intercede for the nations. We are to contend together, and the church is to be a house of prayer. So what does this look like on a Sunday morning? Just very briefly, there's a variety of ways you could go about it, but it needs to be a prophetic atmosphere. The people that are involved, everybody there needs to be burning on fire for Jesus. People that have radical prayer lives themselves. They know what it is to pray, and they're not coming to church just to get a boost, but they're coming, glowing in the dark. I mean, they're full of the fire of God. They've got that spirit of intercession on them. And so, what I would recommend, and again, there's some different ways to do this, but what I'd recommend is an hour before the church service begins, kick into some fiery Holy Spirit prayer for an hour. Just pray in the Spirit. Gather everybody in the sanctuary and have people, moving around, pacing on their knees, on their face, just contending, and big emphasis on praying in the Spirit. Try to limit, as much as you can, praying in English, but just pray in the Spirit. And then once 10 a.m. rolls around, just keep it going. Don't have a break. Don't have an introduction. Don't do any of that. Don't worry about the visitors. Don't worry about visitor assimilation. Don't worry about that. Because why? You are you are focused on God and you are contending. And so keep doing that. Let the musicians start to kind of play over you in the background. The hour before service, you don't need any music at all. But right at 10 a.m., and it's a good way to indicate kind of the start of the service, just let the musicians start playing in the background, but don't let the intercession stop. Let the roar fill the room, the groans that can't be uttered. Just let it fill the room and go for the next hour, hour and a half, whatever. And in the, and intermix it with worship, let the worship team prophetically kick into a 2 or 3 minute, chorus, and then bring it right back into prayer, and have some rapid fire prayer. Let people get up there and grab the mic for 10 seconds and to declare and to make decrees and to shift the atmosphere, and we're leaving our prayer lists at home and leaving our petitions, for the most part, leaving it at home, and we're just decreeing, we're declaring prophetically, what is God saying? What are we seeing? And we're declaring that in the atmosphere. And so that first part of the service can go, easily an hour and a half, 2 hours. Then I'd encourage, in that atmosphere, encourage the word, bring a powerful word. Oh, let's get rid of all these tired, boring, messages that are born out of necessity instead of born out of the prayer rooms. But let someone that's raging on fire get up there and deliver a prophetic word. What's God saying? Declare it into the atmosphere, and then after that, let it finish up with another hour or so of just intense prayer and intercession and altar time, and let the Holy Spirit move, and let there be trembling and shaking and crying out, and so that is my preferred model of a prayer-driven church service, where it's got a little bit of teaching and a little bit of worship, lots and lots of prayer, lots of prophetic, but where everybody they feel that pressure to pray in the Spirit, to grow, to go deep. It's not a shallow experience, and so as we do that, you're going to eliminate the pretenders, those that are not interested in God, are not, going to be interested in staying, and that's okay. I'm a big believer in doing that, in just going deep in the Lord and praying in the Spirit to help identify who's holding you back, who's not on board, who's resisting, and that will identify them, and then they will, by choice, most of the time just kind of move on. And so now you're left with a remnant. You're left with burning ones, and you can go for it. And again, the goal is not church growth. If you cut in half, or you cut by 75%, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's okay, and because the goal isn't numbers, it's not what you're trying to do. The goal is the presence of God. So you want Ichabod to be replaced by Kabod. You want the glory of the Lord, the fire of the Holy Spirit. You want that to be the experience there in the church, and then from there, you're going to start, as Evan Roberts of the Welsh Revival said, ultimately you'll start having daily meetings. People won't want to leave. You're going to want to more and be in God's presence. And all of a sudden, the lost are going to catch wind of it, and they're going to come, and they're going to get radically saved. And so, you want revival, you got to seriously go for it. And our churches must turn into prayer meetings. And so, just wanted to kind of leave you with that, give you a little bit of guidance there. But I'd love to know what you have to say. What do you think? And let me know. Leave some comments, and I'll respond as I can. All right.
Thank you for listening to The Furnace with John Burton. You can access media, read articles, and partner with the ministry online at burton.tv. And by all means, share this podcast with those who are hungry for revival, reformation, and revolution.